Hello and welcome back to the Mojito Movement, and today I'm joined by Louis, who I'll get to introduce himself shortly, but as you all know, it's customary that we cheers the Mojito.
Cheers.
I said I wasn't going to throw him under the bus, but he's gone non-alcoholic.
Immediately throwing me under the bus.
Immediately, but in fairness, having had non-alcoholic mojitos previously, the non-alcoholic spiced rum from Captain Morgan's is pretty good. So what do you reckon?
It is pretty good.
It's pretty decent.
It is pretty good. And I'm driving, and I'm playing football later, so I don't know. I don't want to play boozy football. That was the...
Might play better. Might enjoy it more.
Who knows? I won't find out now.
No, but it's never too late.
Never too late.
It's never too late.
Yeah,
I've got enough stuff to make more mojitos. So if you change your mind, so thanks for coming on. First and foremost, it's always good to get people that I consider to be like big players within the evidence-based space on the podcast. I once had somebody say to me, "Is it worth always getting people on your podcast that you agree with? Wouldn't it be better to get people you disagree with?" But as much as it would be from an entertainment perspective, I feel like there's not enough people that put good quality information out there. It's better to showcase good content creators who don't chat shit rather than bringing people on that I know chat shit just to try and belittle them to my audience. So again, we've got somebody who I absolutely love the content you put out, but before I blow more smoke up your ass, why don't you introduce yourself to everybody and let them know who you are, and more importantly, where they can find you if they're one of the 7 or 8 people on social media that don't follow you already.
Well, I'm Louis. I have been a PT since 2019. I got qualified just before COVID. Nailed the timing.
Yeah, I mean, I can fully empathise with that, as I qualified about 18 months before that, and I went fully self-employed in December of 2019.
Me too, actually.
Ready for the big kick-off. Let's walk away from a wonderfully paid corporate job. 2020 will be my year, and 3 months in, they just closed the world.
If only we knew. If only we knew. But yeah, no, been a PT for, well, best part of 6 years. Slowly kind of started posting to social media. I kind of always knew like that was the direction that it had to go in, because of the whole, if you're just a face-to-face PT, you know, there's only so many hours in the day and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I always kind of had half an eye on the online thing. I probably wasted about 2.5 years of just, you know, bad videos, didn't really know how to do what, you know, because you can have all the good
baptism of fire.
Yeah, you can have all the good information, but if your delivery is bad, I don't think you're gonna get very far. And if I've scrolled down to my very first few videos before, it's cringeworthy. It's bad. Yeah. It's real bad.
Yeah, same here. I've done the same thing. What annoys me more, or not annoys me, but concerns me more, is, I don't know if you get this, but every so often I'll get like a notification. It's like, so and so liked your post on Instagram, and it'll be something from like 6 years ago, and it'll be like the very first videos of me trying to talk to camera, and I'm like, why did you go back that far to find that video to like it? Like, I never want to know that's in existence.
Yeah.
Let alone have somebody find it and watch it.
The things people do online, it's a bit weird. I get some strange messages sometimes. I think the other day, actually, I had someone say, I was announcing like a Black Friday doodle, and I asked on my story, like, "Oh, do you have any guesses what I could be offering?" Lots of people said OnlyFans, typical joke.
Yeah.
But then someone else added, like, "I'm not saying I would subscribe, but I'm also not saying I wouldn't." And I'm like, okay,
it's the insight you didn't ask for.
Yeah, I'll like that, but then I probably won't ask for anything more from you.
Yeah, that's fair. I've had weird things like that though, where I'll be having like a conversation in the DMs with somebody about like their goals and whether or not they're open to having a coach, and they'll be like, yeah, I thought about having a coach, and I'll suggest having a call to to chat over and see if we're a good fit, and then you get like the response, "Oh no, sorry, I've got a boyfriend," and you're like, I'm pretty sure we were just talking about me coaching you, like, and they're like, "Oh, but you said you suggested a phone call." I'm like, "Well, how else am I supposed to talk to you?"
Yeah,
like, I'm not going to do the entire process via the DMs. I quite like to show people that I'm a human, and that, you know, part of working with me is that you get to speak to me every week.
I don't think there's enough of that, to be fair. Lots of coaches are going in the direction of AI and things like that nowadays, and it's just like, guys.
Yeah,
You are a human being. You're coaching a human being. You can't get a robot to do that.
yeah. I saw today on Instagram a post. I think it was by Steve. I think it was Steve Craft. I think it was where somebody had said that they'd had a conversation with a potential coach about online PTing. They were charging £200 a month, and every aspect of it was delivered by AI. There was literally no human interaction at all.
Nice.
Like, that's fucking crazy. Like,
efficient.
Beyond efficient. And the thing is, you probably get this as well. People are like, "Oh, are you worried about AI like taking over your job?" And I'm like, well, no, because you can utilize it to streamline what you do. But in the industry we're in, there's never going to be a moment, in my opinion. Maybe this could be something in 5 years' time I regret saying, but I don't think there's ever going to be a moment where there isn't a requirement for that human element, for that actual empathy, for that reassurance, and that actual guidance to be able to assess a situation rationally, objectively. And AI, it can become super sophisticated, but at the end of the day, it can't be somebody at the end of the phone or somebody in a session one-to-one that's able to say, hey, look, based on what we're seeing, what you're saying, how you're feeling, this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to pivot and change to help somebody feel like they're staying on top of things, even in a moment where perhaps they're really struggling.
I wouldn't say I'm worried. I actually spoke to someone the other day who genuinely was like, I want to make the most of coaching right now whilst AI is at its point before it kind of does take over. So like, coaches are concerned. There are kind of like, I think 3 camps. Coaches that are so confident in their abilities that they're not worried. I'm kind of like half in there, I think.
Yeah.
And then coaches who are, already using it far too much and they're not doing very well at their job, or they're giving a bad service because of it. And then the third group where, it's kind of like you've got half an eye on AI. You're, a little bit worried. I do agree with you in terms of, I think there's always going to be a missing piece.
Yeah.
If it can already do so much now, it can do meal plans, it can do all of this stuff, but it can't keep you accountable.
Yeah, and this is the thing I always say to people, and again, I've had conversations, you've probably had the same, where you're speaking to somebody about coaching and they go, oh, I can get all that for an app for like £5 a month. And I'm like, the issue that you have is not an access to information, because you could actually just go onto ChatGPT and it can create you a training program, a meal plan and everything, and it will cost you nothing. The issue is not an access to information. It's that, as you quite rightly said, it's the accountability, it's the support, it's the bit that goes around it that actually helps people to stay, to actually do the things that they want to do. It's not a case of most people not knowing what to do. There will be an element of that, but for the majority of people that struggle, it's because they don't have the right guidance, the right support, and it's not structured and tailored to them as an individual. We see it all the time when people try and live their lives like competitive bodybuilders because their favorite influencer lives like that, and they're like, I just can't understand why I'm not motivated enough to do it. And you're like, well, probably because you don't want to live a life that makes you miserable. I don't know, just a thought.
Probably don't want to be in the gym 6 days a week, 2 hours at a time.
Yeah.
I think the issue is with AI, you have to be proactive with it. You have to go and ask it questions to get the results that you want, and people don't know the right questions to ask. So that's the issue. And obviously having a coach, it navigates that. Yeah,
it breaks down those roadblocks. Because again, if you've only got to look at how the industry has gone, most people, when they want to, and MyFitnessPal is a great example of this, when people want to get in better shape and they want to drop body fat, if you ask somebody, well, how much do you want to lose and how quickly do you want to lose it? Like, they're going to go for the most attractive option, which is the most in the shortest space of time.
Yeah.
What they don't realise is the trade-off that you have to make in order to achieve that means being fucking disciplined. And for 99% of people that aren't professional athletes who like live and breathe that, it's being fucking miserable. And again, when that's a big limitation around AI as well, is that, again, if you're allowing people to put questions into what is basically a really fancy search engine, and they're going, I really want to, I want to look like this, I want to change this about my body, I want to achieve this, it's always going to be underpinned with the fact that as humans, we're fucking impatient and we want absolutely everything yesterday.
Yeah, I'm like that with some things for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I'm
For
like,
sure.
I'm even like it with business. I'll be on ChatGPT and I'm like, if I wanted to sign 20 clients today, what would you have me do? Here's all my social media, analyze it, and it always comes back with like really good things to do. But again, it's always underpinned by the fact that you, as human nature, I've basically given the stipulation that I want incredible success today.
Yeah, yeah, right now.
Like, how do I do it? And then it comes back with loads of things. I look at it and go, 90% of that I'm not going to do today. Like, it may work, but I'm also no, that's not going to happen. And with what we do with AI, again, if people are feeding into it, going, I want to get all these amazing results as quickly as possible, it will come back with what's required to do that. I have every faith that AI will be able to create routines and meal plans and structure to help deliver it. But people will then take one look at it and go, oh, that's a bit much, I don't fancy that. And then they just won't action it. And then it becomes the next stage of what we've had with fad diets, where people go, oh yeah, I'm going to try and live off of cabbage soup for the next 2 months to drop 4 stone. And then they get like 3 days in and all they can smell is cabbage because they can't stop fucking like farting, and they're starving hungry because they've only eaten or drank soup, and they go, this is shit, I'm not going to stick with it.
Yeah.
And it's just like that for me is kind of what I think there's so much potential for AI to be really useful within the space that we're in, but I don't think it, and again, it could change. I could look like an idiot in a few years' time, but I don't think it has the ability to help apply the information to the individual directly. I think it will still be fairly generic. It'll be, if this is the goal you want to achieve, this is the best way to go about it, irrespective of whether that individual has got the capacity and the time and the inclination to do everything that it's trying to encourage them to do, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I still think it comes down to like, we're not at the point where it will message you.
Yeah.
Once we get to that stage, then okay, I might change my opinion, but I still believe that AI is only good if you know what information to give it and what questions to ask it.
Yeah.
I use AI quite a lot with like copywriting, but so many other coaches do the same thing where, well, do the wrong thing, I suppose, in terms of just say, oh, write me an email about this, 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 and this, and then it'll give you an email, and then you'll be copy, paste, done. Yeah. And it's like, no.
It gives you in my opinion, it gives you the bare bones. And again, I've used it for similar things. I ask for like ideas. I'll be like, I want to write an email that's this kind of tone, that's quite funny. Maybe it has a funny innuendo or analogy attached to it. Give me some ideas, and then I will take the idea and I'll write it myself. But again, I also think that even when AI gets to that point where perhaps it can proactively message people and try and hold them accountable, I still wonder how much accountability that will generate when the person that it's messaging knows that it's not a human at the other end of the phone. I think
that is the thing.
It's much easier to pie off a computer and be like, yeah, I'm not doing it, I'm not going to reply to that, than it is an actual person.
100%. I've had so many messages coaching clients who have come to me and been like, I'm really sorry I've let you down. It's like,
yeah,
the fact they feel that feeling to basically a stranger. Like I've not, most of my clients have not met in person because they're all over the world and stuff. So the fact that having that kind of coach client relationship can get to the stage where they feel bad if they're not doing what you've kind of both agreed for them to do, like that's not going to happen with AI, because there's still going to be that element of, like you said, like, this is a machine, it's not a human being.
And I think it falls into that, like, yes, it might make the barrier to entry lower in that it will be easier and more cost effective for people to have programs and to have coaching in inverted commas, but the barrier to exit will be lower as well, because you're not going to be upsetting somebody. You're not going to have that human to human element. You're not going to think, oh, what's the knock-on effect if I bin this off, like, and again, if I'm not doing so well, they're not going to feel bad. I've had exactly the same thing when you have check-ins with people and they're like, oh, I'm really sorry, I've had a really shit week, you must be really annoyed. I'm like, well, I'm not, no. My job isn't to demand perfection from you, it's to help you navigate these moments so that they don't derail you completely. And I just can't see that AI is going to get to a point where people will have that level of compassion for their AI coach. I think it would just be, I'll turn it off.
Yeah.
You're much more likely to uninstall the app than you are to message them and ask for forgiveness.
I think, yeah, because everyone deep down is going to be like, I'm still in control of this.
Yeah.
I can still tell you to, pipe down,
Yeah.
notifications off. Like, you can't do that with a human being.
And it would be far easier to lie to the AI. Did you do everything this week? 100%. I did it all. Whereas again, when you're working with a coach that's analysing data, like, they're more likely to probe and be like, what we're seeing doesn't reflect what you're saying. Again, that's a tricky conversation that we undoubtedly all will have had in this space, that requires compassion from our side, to raise difficult questions. And again, I don't know if AI will have the ability to be like, based on what you're saying versus what we're seeing, these things aren't adding up.
I find that can be a bit of a tricky balance when coaching, is knowing you kind of, you develop it as you kind of get more clients and things like that, and you've been coaching for longer, but balancing out the kind of like, I'm going to be sort of empathetic and compassionate versus you just need to kick up the arse. Like, you just need someone to be like, you're better than this. You're better than this. I had one of my clients message recently, and she was just like, thanks, Louis. Honestly, I just need you to tell me to get on with it sometimes. You can give me some tough love. Like, that's what I need occasionally.
Yeah. So I often get, like, when people join to work with me, because I swear a lot in my content, and obviously I call out a lot of bullshit. I get people who will say, "Oh, I joined to work with you because I know that you won't blow smoke up my arse. You won't like give me any shit if I need to kick up the arse." And I'm like, I'm actually not as much of an arsehole in real life as I am on social media. Like, when I'm calling somebody a shit cunt because they blatantly lied about how effective a diet is, like, that shit annoys me, and I will be blunt with that. But if you're having a genuine tough time and you're struggling to get stuff in, I'm not going to be the screaming at you coach that's like, you can fucking do it. Like, I'm actually a human. I'm not a complete dick, and I have to almost explain to people that if you want to work with somebody that's just going to demand no excuses, that isn't me. And if I've set that expectation by calling somebody a cunt on social media, then I do apologise. But so, going back, because we just went on a wonderful tangent.
Really did.
Yeah, really went off on one on the AI front. So 6 years in the coaching game.
Yeah.
What was your motivation for getting into it, on that side of things?
So it was basically the only thing I was really good at, to be honest. In terms of, when I say good at, I mean interested in, i.e. fitness. So when I was a kid, I was like super skinny, like so skinny that I would get, blown over by a bit of wind. And I was like really, really, really enjoyed playing football and immensely competitive, but because I was so small, I just didn't have a good time, and it was really getting me down. So I was like, I'm gonna get into the gym, and I did all the usual bollocks where you do like 6 days a week, you do hour and a half on your shoulders, makes no fucking difference. I think there was one time where I went home, the only thing I knew about nutrition was like protein, so I went home after the gym, and I made myself like 7 chicken thighs in the oven.
Nice.
Ate them all, and then proceeded to just be violently ill.
Yeah.
Because the grease was like so, I don't know, I can still smell it to this day. It put me off chicken for a year. It was that bad.
Yeah, that's quite common though when you're violently sick after eating something. I had the same thing as a child with bolognese, and it took me probably about 12 years to try it again.
Oh, that's a shame. Bolognese is great.
Oh mate, I absolutely love it, and I make an absolutely banging bolognese. But yeah, I was really unwell once as a child, and it too closely resembled what I'd eaten when it came back up, and that was enough for me. I was like, we've never eaten that again. Thankfully, I discovered that you can add copious amounts of red wine to bolognese as a.
Yeah, that's true. Red wine and chocolate is just it's cheat meal, isn't it?
So
cheat meals don't exist.
No, they don't. We'll get onto that in a minute.
Yeah. So after that, went to uni, did a chemistry degree that I don't use anymore. It's just an expensive bit of paper.
Excellent.
And then I got into I started working for like a paint company doing like color chemistry,
Nice.
Sounds interesting.
It does sound quite interesting.
Really
You're
fucking
mixing
boring. Really boring. My mates were all like, "Oh, are you watching paint dry for a living?" I'm like, sometimes.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Sometimes yes. Unfortunately, but after 4 years, realised that was pretty. It was a dead end thing. So I think 2019, I spent like 7 months just trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Tried all sorts of different jobs. I think I did Deliveroo for one delivery.
Excellent.
I got paid £4, so I was like, "Fuck this! I'm not doing that ever again." Because
Yeah.
I think I started in January. Terrible choice.
Yeah. Nobody orders anything in January.
No, well, it's just freezing. It's just really cold.
That too.
What else did I do? Then I worked for a coin company for 2.5 days.
Nice.
Can't round it up. It's 2.5 I left at lunch because I was like, this isn't for me. And then I got a job for like an insurance company, just doing like admin. Then I decided to let me just go get qualified as a PT. Dip my toe in, see what it's like. I had a second job at the same time. I was doing data entry for this app. And my full-time job wasn't giving me enough work. I would finish at like 11 a.m. and then I'd sit there, ask my manager, "You got anything else for me?" And he'd be like, "Yeah, give me a couple of hours." So I'd be sat there twiddling my thumbs. So I was like, well, may as well do my other job here.
Yeah.
Efficiencies, right?
I did something very similar as I came to the end of the last proper job that I had before, like full-time job that I had before I went fully self-employed. But that was less because there wasn't enough work, and it was more because I'd given my notice in and was majority working from home if I wasn't sitting meetings, and did very much the same thing. I would work on my business the first half of the day. I would do the bare minimum around lunchtime to quantify getting paid a reasonably good amount of salary, and then I would play FIFA in the afternoon.
Nice.
Yeah, which made for a great conversation at the Christmas do when the company had just been bought by like a big American firm. We had this big Christmas do, and my sales director at the time was like, "Oh, Paul's going off to do his own thing," and I was chatting to him all about it and how it came about. And then my sales director was like, "You haven't been doing any of this on company time, have you?" And I'm like, "Absolutely not. Not at all. No, all in my spare time. Yeah, all in the evenings.
Yeah,
I haven't been doing this during office hours, and I haven't been playing FIFA either. Not at all. Not once.
Not once. Not once, sir." So, yeah, someone found out that I was doing my second job and my full-time job, and then they sacked me basically on the same day, or maybe like a couple of days later.
Brilliant.
And then they said, as I was leaving, they were like, "Good luck with your other job." Next day, get made redundant from the other job. And by that point, I was qualified as a PT. So I was like, well,
in for a penny.
Yeah, guess this is it then. And just really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Lockdown was a bit grim because initially it was, I was just finding my feet. I was getting loads of clients and things in person, and then it was all on Zoom, and I was literally watching people do sort of stuff in their living room. But like, doing that in a gym is fine because you get to talk with them and it's nice, and you can kind of chat and whatnot. But when it's over Zoom, it's like there's not that proper human interaction.
Yeah.
So at that point, I figured I needed to kind of change it a little bit, go more towards less away from sort of Geo Wix-esque hit workout, like I'm gonna watch you exercise kind of thing, to more like programming and nutrition and then here we are. We're got quite a few one-to-one clients. We do a group coaching program basically every couple of months, which is good, and then got a couple of coaches helping me out with that.
Nice.
So yeah, it's gone pretty well. But had it not been for social media, I wouldn't have nearly got been quite this successful. I don't like using that word, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So for you, what was the point where it all started to kick off on like social media? Because obviously you've got a fairly decent size following. You're pretty well established from that perspective. Was there a sort of a key moment, a key piece of content where you're like, "Oh shit, this is getting real," or was it just a
key piece of content? I think there was a video. There was a video I did about the scales, which people have robbed, which I'm unhappy about. But I've seen.
Probably have, to be fair.
No. As in like word for word kind of thing.
Oh no, I wouldn't do that. I'm not that clever to sit and listen to somebody speak.
That was probably the one that started gaining traction. I joined a social media course, so I joined the social circle with Sean Casey, and I mean, yeah, it was kind of like I was watching all the sort of the course, and I was like, why have I not thought about this?
Yeah,
like it was quite simple when you kind of think about it properly, but for some reason every single time I would do a video, just like turn the camera on. I would always script stuff. I still script stuff because if I have a chance to just waffle, it'll be like a 5-minute long video and it will make no coherent sense.
Yeah, see, I never script, but because Instagram won't show anything over 3 minutes to new followers or to new audiences rather, I just make sure that everything is done within 3 minutes or just over, because I know I'm going to edit it. So to the point where I've recorded videos and then I've seen how long it's taken. I've gone, there's definitely not going to be 2 minutes that I can cut out of this.
Yeah.
I just delete it and redo it, and I'm like, right, we just re-record that one again and try and stop at like 3.5 minutes.
Scripting videos, it just keeps you a bit more like, okay, straight to the point. But then anyone that's ever been in the same house as me whilst I've been filming, so my old flatmate, my girlfriend, and now I'm living with a mate at the moment, and like all of them are just like, you sound like you're broken, because I'll be saying the same sentence and then I'll fuck it up and then I have to say it again, and they're just like, you sound like a robot, you sound like you're malfunctioning. So I'm like, yeah, just struggling with my lines, don't worry about me.
It's the side of social media that people don't see. When you try and say something 2 or 3 times and it's the whole thing's being recorded. I had it the other day. I kept stumbling over a word and I was like, for fuck's sake, get your fucking words out, you cunt. And then I'm sat in the living room like editing, and like my missus is there and she just hears me have a massive meltdown at myself, and I'm like, oh, we'll delete that bit, it's fine. Cut that bit out.
Honestly, yeah, I've been there so many times.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say the video on the scales was kind of, it started it, and then older videos started popping off, and then I think one video brought in like, I'm gonna make this up now, it's like 60 to 70,000 followers, which is far too overwhelming.
Yeah.
But the issue with that is, and this is what I found months later, it's like people follow you for that one video, and then they might not like the rest of your stuff.
Yeah.
But then they don't unfollow. So they stay as like a dormant like follower who then just doesn't ever engage. So then Instagram is like, you've got loads of these followers and they don't engage with any other stuff. You must be recording some real shit stuff. Yeah. So
just to be sure, we won't show your content to anyone.
Yeah. So I struggle with that a little bit, but then I mean I've started a new series and I'm really enjoying it, and loads of other people are really enjoying it as well. I've just called it I'm absolutely fucking sick of it. Yeah. And I just find clips online of just people chatting absolute waffle. I think someone the other day was like, oh, if you spin your water it turns into H3O2. I'm like, I did a chemistry degree and that hurts my brain. That's not how it works.
There are some fucking stupid people out there, and I stand by the statement that they're stupid on the basis that they cannot have any level of intelligence, otherwise they'd hear what they're saying and think, I'm not putting that in the public domain.
But I just wonder what their friends think. Like
if they have friends.
Yeah, there was another video about this carnivore girl. Yeah. And she was bragging that she only poops once a week. Yeah. It's like, that's really unhealthy, but she was bragging about it.
It's weird, isn't it, that these influencers will take elements of their life which are quite concerning from a health perspective and portray it like a flex. It's like the I want to say his name's like Carnivore Cam, something like that. Called him out a few times. And
what a guy.
Yeah, and he did that. He did like a big video about having his bloods ran, and listed the fact that like his LDL cholesterol's off the charts and how he doesn't care because he's he's happier and healthier than he's ever been. And I'm like, you probably will care though, like when you have a heart attack.
Since that, he's started sneaking in fruits and
little bit of
veggies.
fruit. But he did a video very similar to the lady that you were referring to just now, where he was saying, does he worry about the lack of fibre on carnivore? And I called the video out on the basis that he genuinely made reference to the fact that fibre is not necessary. Your body tries to get rid of it, and if you have fibre, you could go to the toilet multiple times per day. And he's like, sounds great, that. And then reference the fact that he too maybe shits like once a week. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, if you look at all of the data around what would be considered a healthy amount of bowel movements, it's anywhere between 3 times a day to 3 times per week falls into the healthy range. Anything less than that or more than that is not so great. So do we really want to be sat there saying to people, oh, don't eat fibre because you're gonna shit twice a day? Like,
yeah, I had a guy like comment back about that, and because obviously, you know, if you're gonna make a claim, try and come with receipts in terms of studies and back it up. Otherwise, kind of, you know, you're sort of just as bad as the other people. But so I always try and make an effort to include studies and things like that. And I had someone kind of comment back saying the studies that I've included were all, you know, massive observational studies. So, you know, it's correlation, not causation, and all of this sort of stuff. And whilst, yeah, we have to be quite on it to avoid just saying, oh, if you know, if this happens, then it must be because of this.
Yeah.
You know, I think like a typical example is like if, you know, in summer more ice creams are sold, and because more people are in the sea, more drownings occur. So you could be like, well, if
people ate less ice cream, they wouldn't drown as much.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So you have to be a bit careful with that. But at the same time, this guy's argument kind of fell to pieces because no, we haven't got any direct studies that are putting people under low fiber diets for a long period of time to see if there's any nasty side effects. Of course there isn't, because why?
Very inhumane at best.
Yeah.
Very unethical.
Exactly.
Who wants to sign up to this trial where you probably will die?
Yeah.
And if you don't die, you may just end up with cancer.
Oh,
Sure.
Jesus. It's like, well, okay, I get that these studies...
Where do I join?
Yeah, where do I sign? I get that these studies are observational, but because there's so many of them and there's so many people in each study, you can't just blissfully ignore them.
Yeah, and it's that like, it's very easy to take, like you said, correlation and try and position it as causation. But again, at the same time, when you've got a multitude of studies that are potentially not even looking for the same thing, but all exhibit the same correlations, that in itself tells you enough about how closely linked things are. Again, with fibre, if you've got endless studies that have been done that could be looking at, you know, fibre intakes from multiple things, but they all have a similar correlation in that the diets lacking in fibre are linked to more cases of certain types of cancer. You can go, it might not be directly the cause of it, but if you can clearly see that there's far less cases when people have more fibre and far more cases when people have less, like, you don't have to be a genius to look at that and go, probably better to minimise risk as much as possible and sit in the side where there's less of it.
Yeah.
Even if it's not a direct link. Like, there's going to be very few studies out there that will show a definitive link between one thing and another, but there'll be plenty of things that will show whether there's a concerning link between them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong, if there's only like a couple of studies with like 35 people in it, yeah, sure, okay, cool, you can kind of, you're like, all right, take that with a pinch of salt.
I saw a really interesting study that got shared recently, and it was looking at the impact the menstrual cycles have on training performance and strength and what have you, and you go, oh, very interesting subject. And it was like, it turns out that there is no impact. And then when you actually look at it, they studied 35 women, and they literally studied it over a 2-week period.
Brilliant.
So you go, I'm not sure that you can really claim that.
No.
At the very least, you'd probably want to do like maybe 3 cycles to see if there's a difference. So you're looking at a minimum 12 weeks, ideally,
Well,
and you probably want more than 35 women as well. And all of these women had trained for a period, like a substantial period of time prior to, obviously, like the study happening as well. So you probably also want a subset of people that are new to the gym, those who have been going for a long time. Like you want a really broad subset of people. And I was like, this is what I love about when you get into looking at studies and stuff, is it's so easy for people to kind of cherry pick and go, well, this study backs up everything that I'm saying. And then 9 times out of 10, if it's a really out there claim, when you look into it, it'll be like a fucking rodent trial based, like, and it will be like just one rat that they just pumped full of something and we're like, yep, it died.
Love the rodent trials.
Yeah, same here. The artificial sweeteners that when people are like, yeah, well, if you look at this study here, and it's like, yes, it's a rodent trial where they literally just gave it the equivalent of like 4,000 litres of Diet Coke.
Yeah.
But sure, I think we'd all die if we drank 4,000 litres of Diet Coke. I don't think it's the sweetener. I think it's the 4,000 litres of Diet Coke.
It just makes my head hurt. I just don't understand why people don't like engage common sense with this sort of stuff.
It's mad. And a part of me feels like the whole, without going down the conspiracy theory route here, but part of me feels, no, hear me out. Part of me feels like COVID didn't help the situation, because all of a sudden, it was probably the first moment that I can think of where social media banded together and tried to claim that science and scientists didn't know what they were talking about,
true.
and that Dave down the road knows way more than, you know, these chemists, physicists, biologists, and people who are, you know, fully qualified and educated on subject matter, and it's almost just like spilled out of there that because people were starting to question some of the information being given to them about a rapidly evolving pandemic, they seem to think that that applies to every single form of science and study. And it's like, well, during COVID, things were changing all the time. We couldn't really trust the scientists. So these longitude studies that you've got that have been done over decades, we can't really trust that. Like, but it's not really a rapidly evolving landscape.
No.
It's pretty consistent.
It's not many times a national pandemic has occurred. International pandemic, rather.
Well, global, yeah. I think the last one was the plague in like 1914, or no, Spanish flu, wasn't it? 1913 or whatever it was the last one of equivalent. I'm like pretty sure science has come on since then.
Yeah,
but also,
just
if that's the only referenceable data that we've got, it means we're not really prepared for it.
No,
but I think like there is a big part of me that thinks that sort of environment that was created on social media, where people were kind of like obviously really pissed off because they were being told they couldn't go out and they couldn't see their families and stuff, so they were like kind of questioning everything, like is this legit, and it's good to question things, it definitely is, but I feel like it got magnified, it got caricatured to the nth degree, and it's a behavior pattern that's stuck around, in that people will literally look at evidence and data that you can't dispute and argue with, and they'll go, no, I don't believe that. Well, why not? Well, I found this study here, and you go, well, it's an opinion piece, not a study, but yeah, carry on. And like, yeah, and this person's theorised this, and he's got a doctor in his name, so he must know what he's talking about. And I'm like, well, in one breath you're saying don't trust the scientist, and in the next breath you're saying, but trust this one.
yeah. It's like, I agree that we should question things, and we shouldn't just take everything at face value.
But I mean, that is what science is at the end of the day. It's a constant evaluation of the data in order to formulate our views on on fact.
But then don't not believe anything. But what I find baffling is like people choose to believe the stuff that isn't backed up by evidence.
Yeah.
So no, I'm going to go with that. Why? I don't know.
Because he's got a lot of followers. It's
just
normally
like it.
Yeah.
I just fancy it. You know.
My favourite one is when you get people like Dr. Eric Berg, for example, who's he's a fan favourite on the social media, and then and everyone's like, yeah, but he's a doctor, so he would know what he's talking about. He's like, he's a chiropractor, he's not even a medical doctor.
This is the thing.
And I'm like, he is not qualified in the subject that he's talking about.
He's dipping his toe in. He's like, oh, my foot's gone in now.
Yeah, and he slaps his name on a million supplements that are all way overpriced, and yet people see the word doctor and go, well, what do you know, mate? You're just an online coach. You're just a PT. And I'm like, yeah, but I've got more of a qualification in nutrition than he does. He can crack some fucking like joints better than I can. Absolutely. but he's not got any qualification in nutrition. He just sells a fuckload of supplements, and people go, yeah, but he's got a doctor in his name. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Maybe I should get a doctor in my name.
I mean, I paid for a lordship once. Can you pay for a doctorate? Or do you have to
surely there's some like
there must
ropey
be
websites.
Or do you have to do, like, become sort of semi-famous and then
Gifted?
Yeah, get gifted. But I've been gifted a doctorate in what? I don't really know. They've just been given it. But
don't know.
It's it pivots quite nicely to one of the things I wanted to discuss, which is really kind of taken off within the space at the moment, and that's the ultra processed food debacle that's going on. I know you're one of the people who's put some really, really good content out there on this subject of late, that I think needs to be explored and needs to be discussed, because nobody's disputing the fact that diets high in ultra processed food are, you know, typically linked to more areas of potential ill health. We're not disputing that, but what determines an ultra processed food doesn't actually give any indication about a food's quality and its nutrient value. It's more to do with number of ingredients and number of processes that it goes through from original form to when you consume it. And I think there seems to be trends every couple of years. Something becomes public enemy number one, whether it's salt, whether it's sugar, whether it's carbs, whether it's ultra processed foods at the moment, where people go, this is the thing that causes obesity, this is the thing we must stop.
Yeah, it's like all or nothing.
Yeah,
like,
and nobody seems, again, going back to what we said, nobody seems to pick up on the fact that, you know, last week it was artificial sweeteners, the week before that it was carbs, the week before that it was fat, the week before that it was salt. Nobody picks up on the fact that it's just the goalposts are constantly moving and what have you. But there seems to be a big push driven by you mentioned him earlier, we're both clearly a big fan. Joe Wicks has waded in, and we can obviously trust his view on things because he wouldn't ever share anything questionable when it comes to nutrition. For example, he wouldn't claim to have such a strong addiction to sugar that having a few Jaffa cakes would be considered a relapse, and he probably wouldn't share information along the lines of that carbs and sugar causes ADHD, for example.
Oh, that was a bad one.
That was a bad one.
Deary me.
That was a real bad one. And for someone who doesn't have a massive sweet tooth, who literally in the last few months has been diagnosed with ADHD, I'm like, definitely wasn't the sugar.
Yeah.
Not for me anyway.
Yeah.
But
I've actually got all of Joe's books.
I've got a few of them because back in the day, that's what he was famous for.
Yeah.
Here's a book with some great quick recipes. Yeah. Not a problem.
Calories, what are they? I'm just going to put that out there.
Yeah.
No calorie information in those books. That's why it took me so long to get my fitness sorted, because I was doing gym workouts galore. I was doing the bloody HIIT workouts. My poor cat at the time. God, she's got PTSD.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was just seeing absolutely sod all change, and it was just because I was not having the right calories and protein. And the meals are fine.
Yeah.
They were quick. And didn't make me lean in 15 though.
No, and often very tasty. Credit where it's due. I also guarantee, I'm willing to say this on record, they're not his recipes. He didn't come up with them. Not a chance. No. But they are, some of them, real tasty. But I had semi-issues back in my early days of becoming a PT with Joe, on the basis that he glamorized burpees, and lean in 15 was a phrase that I thought was a little bit misleading. But I often used to look at it, well, if that's the worst a person can do, is that they slightly exaggerate how fast you might see results by eating their meals. It's not the worst thing in the world. And he's kind of really undone, not even the hard work, because I don't think there was a lot of hard work in creating what he created, so to speak. But he's definitely made the industry a more difficult space for people like you and I, who are evidence-based, who want to help people with food freedom, improving their relationships with food. I feel like over the last 12 months he's been on a single-handed warpath of just sharing awful information from a nutritional perspective. And maybe it comes down to his people around him and poor guidance. I don't think I don't think there's anything malicious in it, but he very much at the moment comes across as somebody that will promote the message that pays the most, which is a worrying factor for an industry with somebody who is considered to be a professional in this space.
Yeah, the thing that two things. The thing that I don't like is the fact that obviously throughout lockdown he basically made it in the house of every parent.
Yeah.
Because of the whole getting kids to exercise, which is great, love it.
Did make it hard for the rest of the industry that were all struggling because their gyms have been closed down and weren't getting furlough. And you're like, do you want to carry on working? No, I'm just going to do Joe Wicks. It's free on YouTube. I'm like, fucking great. Yeah, you do the multi-millionaires fucking YouTube. No worries.
No, but to be fair, it got people moving, which fair play. Like, that's what we need more of.
Yeah.
But then he built that trust over time. So now, with the way social media has gone, it's like the louder you shout, the more controversial you are, the more views you get, the more polarizing you can be. Yeah. Again, you're going to reach more people. So it's almost like he's at the peak of, he's got an audience size of nearly 5 million or something on Instagram. Then to be saying things like, I've relapsed on Jaffa Cakes, protein bars are bad for you, and all of this sort of stuff. Obviously, so many people are going to hear that, and they trust him and they respect his opinion. So it's going to cause so many issues later down the line, especially because so many of them are parents.
Yeah.
So they're then going to feed that kind of narrative of, ultra processed food is terrible for you, can't have any of it. Meanwhile, there's parents out there that can't, they don't have the time, they don't have the resources to do anything but the easier option, which is sometimes ultra processed food. So
yeah, and I touched upon this in a piece of content. It was either yesterday or last week. It was fairly recently. And a big challenge is that if you look at the cost between whole foods versus ultra processed foods, it's anything up to 4 or 5 times more expensive to buy whole foods, single ingredient foods. So again, if you're a very low income household and you've got a very limited budget for your food shop, if you start to really heavily demonize the only stuff that they can afford, what's the alternative? The alternative becomes just not eating at all. And then we've already seen a massive increase in disordered eating and eating disorders in people of a much younger age over the last few years. If you're then adding to that a societal pressure where people feel like they have to eat a certain way and they can no longer eat stuff but they can't afford the alternative, like that's just going to cause more issues again. Like, why aren't we eating? Well, because the only thing we can afford will give you cancer. Like, well, it won't just by eating it like the once, but also like if that's all you can afford, like maybe don't avoid it. Like, it's better to eat something than to starve to death because do you know what I mean? So I think for me the big frustration is that you summarized it perfectly. Social media is all about obviously likes, engagement, and the more polarizing you can be, the more extreme you can be with what you say, the better it is for engagement, because you're going to get a load of people going, oh, I didn't know that. You'll get a load of people going, that's bollocks, and then you get a load of people going, don't fucking say something negative about this guy, he's a saint. And it just blows up. Stephen Bartlett, let's be honest, with his podcast, is series 1 was loads of evidence-based people, really good episodes, and then since then it's just been, let's get on everybody that will say the most extreme things, not because he believes it, but because he's going to let it go unchallenged so they can just ramble for an hour, safe in the knowledge that it gets loads of great sound bites that will be great for social media.
I used to really enjoy his podcast, and then I just started noticing like, oh, well, this is a very clickbaity title, what's going on here? Oh, there's another one and another. Oh, okay, you're just getting loads of people on your podcast that saying things like we need to control insulin to avoid, weight gain and all of this sort of stuff. And it's like, well, that's not it.
And I think like I said, the point that you raise is it's become almost critical for success to be very out there. The challenge that you then have is managing that flow of information and the impact that it actually then has on the individual, because it's great that we can promote you should be eating lots of single ingredient whole foods. You should be getting wide variety to what you eat. You should be only eating, free range, grass fed, lean beef. You should only be you should only be eating 10 different types of fruit and veg every day that grow in South America that you've handpicked yourself. And all of this is great, but if it's not actually applicable, it becomes elitist. And then it's fine for someone like Joe to say you should only eat this way because, well, he makes millions a year. So if he wants to eat that way, for him it's like, yeah, no worries, mate. You can go and you could probably have your own fucking farm and grow everything you want and have your own animals, and not a problem. You can afford that. But for the single income family of the mum of 3 kids that works 2 jobs, who's struggling to make ends meet, and she's there going, well, I can buy a multi-pack of cheese pizzas for 48p and that would do us a dinner, or I can do what Joe says and I can spend £40 for one meal. It's just not going to happen. And I think the problem is people have almost taken the fact that we want to help people perhaps to improve diet quality, and they've taken that, and because of social media and the way it works, they've pushed it to this massive extreme that then makes it really unhelpful. And I remember growing up, it was 5 portions of fruit and veg a day is great to reduce the risk of cancer. Well, that's probably achievable for most people. I mean, that's not going to push the weekly shop up too much to get variety and fruit and veg into your food. And it's now got to a point where it's like, if you eat anything other than this list of really expensive items, you're going to die tomorrow. And people are like, great, we're fucked then. Yeah. And yet people still don't challenge it. Going back to the original point, people still don't look at it and go, is this actually true? They go, oh, it's really true, but now I just feel shitter about myself.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. We've lost the whole balance. I definitely feel like it's possible to include more single ingredient foods without your shopping bill going through the roof. I definitely think it's possible. It's just a lot of people don't have the necessary sort of education. But then that's one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is you've got people like, Joe, like, his name's escaped me. How? The guy that just goes round, Eddie Abu. There you go.
Dear old Eddie.
Dear old Eddie, Eggy Abu. You've got people like those guys who basically just demonise almost everything. So it pushes people into a corner because they have a lack of education, or like they don't quite know what foods they could include. Because we have this. People have this belief that single ingredient foods and whole foods are more expensive, and maybe some are for sure, but we can still do something. And it's like just a little bit more education in the right areas. But then you've got people over this side who are just like, unless you can do everything, there's no point in doing any of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and again, I think that's the frustration from my perspective. From obviously as a qualified nutritionist, the real frustration is the fact that we don't need to strive for perfectionism in the same way that we would say to our clients from a training perspective. Striving for perfectionism is creating an environment where you're only going to fail, because it doesn't matter how good your will and intentions, there's always going to be something you can't control that will prevent you being perfect. Yes, you can be perfect in a very short space of time, but you can't hope to replicate that over an extended period of time. And it's become the same thing from a nutrition perspective, from a diet perspective, in that people promote this utopia of, well, if you just eat like this, you'll be really healthy. You go, that's great, but is it actually achievable long term? Eddie is a great example of it, in terms of he just thinks people need to eat beef and eggs, and you go, well, that's all well and good, but there's not a lot of people that can afford to buy that much fucking ribeye steak that you can enjoy it every day.
Yeah. I mean, it's beef, eggs, or his daughter's microwave meals.
Yeah, which is strange.
which goes against his whole narrative. But,
yeah, and also he does like cookies.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did a great video recently where he slagged off cookies, but I also found a really, really fun video of him before where he was listing all of the things that you shouldn't eat, and then referenced, I do like a cookie now and then though, and I was like, yes, those popular carnivore cookies.
Yeah.
How are you making your chocolate chip cookie?
Carnival Camp's probably got a recipe.
He probably
Almost
has.
certainly does.
Yeah, without doubt. But it just, for me, it just like with everything, it just polarizes things, and it creates that paralysis by analysis for people, where they look at it and they go, well, if the only way to be healthy is to do something I've got no hope of doing, then what's the point altogether? Whereas what I like about your content, in terms of, that's very similar to obviously what I put out, and we've obviously got people like Josh who do a really good job of sharing that, and people like Sophia that share good quality nutrition information that help people improve the quality of their diet, but also don't shy away from the fact that food isn't just about the nutrients. It's not just about being as healthy as possible. Food is taste, it's enjoyment, it's socializing, it's it's texture, it's sensation. And there's going to be an awful lot of foods that we all like to eat, which, if you were to eat them in large quantities and live off of it exclusively, you probably wouldn't be the healthiest individual. But the answer to foods that are less nutrient dense and offer a little less nutritional value is not to avoid them altogether. It's just to appreciate and have a good understanding of, this is something I might enjoy every now and then, and this is something I'll try to strive for a little more often. And it seems to be a narrative that's just got completely lost over the last few years in the nutrition space, is the fact that it is about balance. And I always maintain that for me, you could eat a certain way and you could live to 110, but if you're going to be fucking miserable for those 110 years, I'd rather live to 85 and perhaps have a few of the things that are going to make me die slightly earlier, but be happy.
Yeah.
I'd rather have
I
a drink. I'd rather have a fucking mojito now and then. I'd rather bang a pizza in the oven every now and then and like disappear at 85 years old with a fuckload of good memories and a good quality of life than get to 110 and just be miserable because all I've lived off of is fucking food I didn't really like.
Yeah,
Like,
I totally agree.
I feel like it's a balancing act that gets overlooked, is that it's not just about what is best for optimum health, because in my opinion, if what you're doing makes you unhappy, it can't be that healthy, because health isn't just physical, it's mental as well. And if you're trying to strive to live your lifestyle that you ultimately don't like, that's not going to do you much good either.
Yeah, I think there's a couple, like one of the biggest bit of feedback that I constantly get from clients is like, oh, I didn't realise how kind of easy this could be, this whole moderation thing.
Yeah.
And lots of people kind of put themselves in the whole all or nothing category. And I've seen quite a few good posts recently of the whole going on about that. And it's like, well, if you say you're all or nothing, most of the time it's mainly nothing.
Yeah.
You mainly you don't do all very often.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have lost that whole moderation, balance, and things like that. Like, yeah, if you eat like an absolute dickhead, you're probably not going to do good things for yourself. But we can afford, if most of our diet is decent, and we're talking like 80%, the other 20%, have that pizza, have a donut. Donuts are, Jesus, the Krispy Kremes, like 500 calories or something.
It's mad, isn't it? It's mad. I mean, whilst you're back, to be fair, in this neck of the woods, you need to get yourself down to Bigwigs.
I've been before, don't worry. I know all about it.
Their donuts are...
Yeah, the cinnamon rolls or whatever they're called.
The cinnamon bun nuts are...
Yeah, they're good.
Exceptional. Bear with us for 5 minutes whilst we just go on a tangent about a local bakery which is exceptional. To be fair, there used to be a coffee shop called Lead Out, and they used to do small block donuts, which was like the dude that owned it was his own little donut company, and they were the best donuts I've ever had. But bringing it full circle, life's too short not to be able to enjoy those moments. The key thing is to not enjoy them all the fucking time, because like you said, the amount of conversations you have with people, and they'll go, I'm very all or nothing, and you're so right. They're not even all or nothing, they're just 90% nothing with like a sprinkling of all.
Yeah, I'll be all for like 3.5 working days.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, and by 3.5 working days, it's just between office hours.
yeah.
And
Second
by
I'm at
office
home.
hours, I tend to roll in at 11 and be done by 3.
It's good. It's
I have a
decent.
good lunch every now and then, is what people are basically saying. I might have a salad for lunch once a month. But I think that for me, kind of coming back to what we were saying, the key to helping a wider population of people to become healthier is not portraying things as one or the other, because that just creates a success and failure narrative. And actually, one thing I always maintain with my clients is that when you adopt a lifestyle approach, when you look at things from a long term, that this isn't something you're just going to do until you see X result and then you stop. This is something you want to do for the rest of your life that improves your overall health. That gives you a lot of time. Most people have got, hopefully tens of years, if not more, ahead of them. And when you have that approach, it doesn't need to be this extreme all or nothing scenario, because you've got all the time in the world. The reason why people end up falling into those headspaces where it becomes an all or nothing is because, again, they're trying to achieve success in a really short space of time. So they've put a time scale on it, gone, I need to lose this weight by this time, and then even if they achieve it, they go, oh, I've done that now, I can stop. And you go, well, the issue is all the things that you were doing when you were stopped last time that led you to the point where you then needed to make change. If the only change you make is very temporary until you feel slightly better about how you look and feel, to just go back to what you were doing before, it's naive at best. I always say to people when they say their goal is fat loss, I'm like, cool, what's your opinion? Are you looking to drop fat as quickly as possible or for as long as possible? And every single person is like, well, I want to lose it for as long as possible. I'm like, cool, we're going to get rid of this really rapid approach that you keep fucking hanging your hat on, because it doesn't serve anyone. If in order to achieve something quickly, you have to accept the fact that you won't do it for very long, well, you can't expect it to the results to hang around. It's why people, when they win the lottery, a lot of them end up back where they were prior to their lottery win, because if somebody just goes, here's £1 million, you find a lot of things to spend it on really fast. Whereas if you earn and you've made £1 million, you've had to work pretty hard to get to it, so you're more likely to have a better appreciation of it when you've got it. And I genuinely feel that that's a good comparative analogy for how most people approach fat loss, is that they kind of want it as quickly as physically possible, but because in order to do that, you're not really appreciating what can come from it taking its time, it doesn't stick around either.
Well, it's habit based, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one of the biggest things. Like, I always say to people, if you've had a successful diet, but the way you've had to do it is like ridiculous, the second you stop doing that thing that got you the results in the first place, well, you could say bye to the results, because if it isn't habit based, then it's only ever going to be temporary.
Yeah.
And this is kind of how it's my approach to kind of coaching. Like, yeah, you can go down the route of getting meal plans, and you can basically have it all like handed to you on a plate. There's a mild joke in there, bad joke in there somewhere, but that's only going to serve you so much, like, because part of this is you having to the client having to figure things out as well.
Yeah.
So as much as you might be the same as well in terms of how you coach. Like, you can give someone the tools, you can give someone structure, you can give someone all the advice, but then it's down to the individual to then implement it or play around with it. Like, one thing I always tell my clients is, okay, let's just try, let's try this week. If it fails, no worries, because we can just cross that off. We can try something else next week.
Yeah. And it's something I do with a lot of my clients as well. One of my clients that I've been working with for quite some time, she's had incredible results. She's someone who really struggles with her mobility. So we're not in a position of great luxury where we can be like, oh, if you want quicker results, we'll just train a bit more, we'll do a bit more cardio. Like, she's low mobility, so we're pretty much governed by what goes in her mouth more so than anyone else that I work with. And we've been trying to improve on a few bits and pieces, and we've tried. What I love about it is we'll try something one week, and we'll have a conversation. I go, look, these are some options. Which one do you think sounds best? Sure, I think let's give this a go, and then we'll check in the following week. And if it's worked amazing, like brilliant, cool, we'll keep running with that.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't work, it's not that it's that it's a failure. We go, cool, we tried that didn't work. Now we're going to try the next thing.
Yeah.
And it's that trial and error that helps you create the lifestyle. Whereas again, if you fall into that trap of just trying to tip the scales as quickly as physically possible, you end up in a position where you're just like, well, here's an idea. How about if you just fast for the next 84 hours, and then when you break your fast, just only have 250 calories, and see how you get on, and then you check in a week later how you get. Oh, I've lost loads of weight. You go, well, yeah,
no shit.
I know you have. And again, I always maintain it's the difference between a trainer and a coach is that trainers typically will give a prescription of what to do, and they will expect that 100% adherence, and if you don't adhere to it, you just don't want it enough. Whereas the job of a coach is to help, yes, get the person to where they want to be, but it's actually to help them to become self-sufficient in that process of. My job isn't to make every person I work with the very best, fittest, healthiest, leanest version of themselves. It's to give them the tools to know how to self-manage.
Yeah.
So that, yes, we make great progress in the short term, but I also can have that 100% confidence that in 10 years' time that they'll still be doing the same things that we were doing together. It will still be part of their lifestyle. They'll still be maintaining the results that they've got, rather than just being like, yeah, here's a structure, go and follow it until you can't fucking stick to it anymore because it made you miserable.
Yeah, doesn't work, does it? A good coach should be like a driving instructor.
Yeah, 100%.
I like that analogy.
Yeah, same. I use it all the time.
If you've still got a driving instructor after 5 years,
yeah,
probably get another driving instructor.
Yeah, or just get a bus pass and be done with it.
Yeah. I don't know what the diet equivalent of a bus pass is, but
yeah, diabetes. No. But yeah, I completely agree. I think there's too much glamorization of things having to be instant and significant, and again the whole ultra processed food thing is it's a mirror reflection of that, in that again it's not helping people to understand actually how can you create a healthy lifestyle, how can you tackle things from a long-term perspective. It's just a very much it's a sticking plaster on an axe wound, in that temporarily you look at it and go, yeah, that's doing the job, that's stopped the bleeding, but if you haven't actually stitched up the gaping wound, eventually that plaster's going to soak through and fall off, and where you're still in the same position again. It's another drastic fad-based diet that has some element of benefit to it, but ultimately for most people it still keeps them at arm's length from what they actually need to understand, which is how do they better manage their calories whilst including some of the stuff they like and striving for slightly better habits and behaviours and a healthier all-round diet.
It's not sexy though, is it?
It's not. No,
it's not nearly as sexy as drop a dress size in 3 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, my crash course that I offer people, I'm like, if it's all about rapid weight loss, I can get you lots of weight off and keep it off potentially in a matter of seconds. Chop a leg off.
Yeah, there you go. Lop it off.
Cut a leg off. And if you want even more, practically double the results, do them both. No one's taken me up on it yet.
Someone might.
I hope not, because I feel like that's a lawsuit in the making.
Yeah. I don't know whether or not you probably need to. Maybe that could be your doctorate though.
It could be.
Amputation.
Yeah.
Who knows? But I mean, I get why people want fast results. I do understand that, and that's part of our job to kind of navigate it, because obviously we want people focusing on habits, we want people doing the right thing and making sure it is at a sustainable pace and whatnot, but then at the same time you need results quite quickly to then
get the buy-in and
feel motivated, like, oh holy shit, this is actually working, cool.
And there's a time and a place for it. Like, again, if you've been to the doctor and you've got very worrying health markers, pre-diabetic or type 2 diabetic, and high cholesterol and all this kind of stuff, like, there is a time and a place for a more drastic approach. Again, I think part of the problem is that a lot of the times when people are looking at your aggressive diet protocol, they're not looking at it as a part of a longer term strategy. They just look at it as that's the means to an end.
Yeah.
I'll do an 800 calorie diet, or I'll live off of really prescriptive diet or whatever it is, and I'll drop loads of weight in 8 weeks, for example, and they view that as I'll be cured by then.
Yeah.
In that 8 week period, and then I can just stop, as opposed to viewing more aggressive approaches as a phase of a longer term thing, that yes, do this for a period of time. It's not going to be pretty, it's not going to be the most enjoyable thing, but if we can get you to a place where health markers are improved, you're feeling better, and then transition you into a longer term, more enjoyable, more manageable, more sustainable approach, brilliant. But even when you go to the doctor and you're like, yeah, I've got real issues with my weight, they're like, cool, we're going to slap you on this really aggressive diet. What happens afterwards? Well, you should hopefully be fixed by then. Like, we'll worry about that when we get to it. If that doesn't work, well, how about some surgery?
I think...
and it's like, even that, like, I don't know if you've had the same experience, but I've worked with a number of clients over the years who have had weight loss surgery, and they're like, yeah, it was great. I lost like 8 stone in the first like 12 months. And I'm like, yeah, now here we are. Like, you're still now trying to learn all the things that the surgery didn't teach you about your diet, because as you gradually were able to introduce more and more foods, you went straight back to your old eating habits.
That's I think we're going to see that more and more and more with obviously weight loss drugs as well.
Yeah.
Purely because, they're kind of demonized, and I don't like that, because some people really benefit from using them.
Yeah. I think there's such a powerful benefit that comes from them. But I don't know about you, the analogy I always use is I view GLP-1 meds in the same way that I look at like anti-anxiety and antidepressant medication.
Yeah.
They are there to help numb symptoms enough for you to do the work to fix the root cause. They're not there to fix you. Anyone that goes on any form of anti-anxiety, antidepressant medication, if you go onto it with the intention that this is going to fix you, A, you'll never come off it, but B, you'll never be fixed.
Yeah. You
never will. But they're a fucking great tool for helping to numb the symptoms enough to give you that breathing space to go, right, what's actually causing this? How do I tackle it? And away we go. And I view weight loss medications exactly the same. They're not there to replace improving your diet and your activity level. They're not there to replace improving your overall lifestyle and habits and behaviours. They are there to help quieten things like food noise. They are there to help manage your satiety and your appetite better, so that you can actually look at the triggers. You can look at, where do I struggle? How can I improve this?
Yeah.
And buy you a bit of flexibility. The problem we've got is, like with everything in the fat loss space, you've got people asking for it that don't really need it, that think it's a quick fix.
Mm-hmm.
You have obviously people who are feeling really reliant on it because they've seen results from it, and therefore they're then anxious or concerned about transitioning away from it. They feel like it's a real crutch and they have to have it. And you've then got the people that try and sell it illegally, that are like, yeah, this is the best thing in the world. Like, get your GLP-1 meds, get your Manjaro, get your Ozempic from some bloke Dave off of TikTok that selling it for 250 quid a month.
Commission-based Dave.
Yeah, and you're like, all of those scenarios really do a great job of demonizing something that could be a fucking great tool in the toolkit of the armory to help tackle a massive problem, and they end up creating stigma where some people don't want to go on it because they're being made to feel like it's cheating, and other people are so keen to go on it because they think it's the silver bullet that they've been missing, and it's neither of those things. It's not cheating, but it's also not the quick fix.
No, I mean, you probably felt the same way about the last quick fix.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, the skeptic in me is like, you can dress it up as anything. You can dress it up as every single fad that's ever come along. But this is probably one of the very few that has real significant potential if ultimately if marketed correctly. If it's marketed to people that this won't fix you, but it will help you fix yourself.
I think I saw recently that the creator of it has basically come out and been like, this isn't being used as I had hoped.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, because obviously the weight loss industry is
I
such...
imagine the creator of the gun is probably looking at the world in a similar way.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think
it's not what I intended it for.
I think there's just so much money in weight loss industry and health and fitness and stuff like that. It was only probably ever going to go this way.
Yeah.
But the issue is, and I've seen it firsthand because I've had people come into Sorted in 6 who are on it.
Yeah.
And I've seen people, the same people, they've done intakes before where they weren't using it, and then they've come in again and they're using it, and the difference in how adherent they were, how even the results went when they weren't using was so much better, because they weren't like, oh, it doesn't matter, I'm on weight loss drugs, it's going to happen without me doing what I need to do. And it's like, well, no, that's the problem, and that's kind of the one worry that I have. The good thing is, obviously, it's gonna give so many more people the opportunity that do genuinely need it, in terms of, like terrible health markers, like, you might die soon if you don't do something about this. Like, for those people, brilliant. It's going to save lives, which is awesome. And then, as well as that, for the people that have tried and tried and tried and tried, and they just feel like they've got no other kind of alternative, where to go, whatever, it will work for them so long as you do the habit-based stuff alongside it.
Yeah.
But then it's going to get people more into more exercise, and it's going to mean that they have a more active lifestyle, because they're probably at the point where they struggle to go out for a walk, or the gym is like so far away. You might be like, whose gym? Like, like,
pipe dream.
Yeah, not even a concept kind of thing. So yeah, it's kind of like there's benefits, and obviously there's pros and cons. I think there was a client who joined. She actually won the last intake of Sorted in 6. And when I called her to tell her that she'd won, she was like, I'm so glad, your program came along at the right time, because I was waiting on a call from the doctor about my options for weight loss medication. She's 18. And that's the issue, is we don't have enough long-term data to know
what the long-term effects are.
Yeah, like the long-term downsides. We don't have any of that yet, and we won't have that for a few years. So, if it really is your final option kind of thing, then obviously, you don't have anywhere to turn to. But if you can avoid it, if you can do it on your own, and believe me, like, a lot of people are in this headspace where they're like, I can't do it on my own. But you keep just doing the same stuff.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is born out of the perception, isn't it? That because everything gets glamorized, that's ultimately not going to provide any form of longevity and any form of enjoyment. So pretty much every diet that promises rapid results is some form of elimination diet. It's some form of, taking something away. And if that doesn't really offer any long-term success, and you also didn't enjoy the process whilst you were doing it, each time you then think, I need to do something about this, your thought process is likely to be, yeah, but last time I did it was shit. Oh, well, I'll look at something else and that seems shit as well. It's just going to be shit. Nobody's ever going to be motivated to do something that is going to be shit. The analogy I always use is, most people have jobs that they don't like. The reason why they turn up every day isn't motivation. It's because they're so dependent on the money that they're willing to put up with the fact they fucking hate every waking minute there. Like, they know that if they don't go enough times, you'll get fired, and then you won't get paid.
Yeah.
Like, the incentive outweighs how shit it is.
Yeah.
But when it comes to, like, getting in shape, people approach, losing body fat and stuff, people approach it in a similar mindset to go into a job that they hate every day, but there's no quantifiable payoff. You don't get to the end of each month and they go, here's $2,000. Like, you've made your diet absolutely shit, you've done a load of cardio you fucking hated, but here's a couple of grand for your troubles, and you go, well, it was probably borderline worth it. Like, the payoff is so far down the line, in that if you stick to it long enough and you become healthier and you live an extra 15 years, well, you're not going to recognize that payoff until you know until you've lived the extra 15 years.
It's
And
the whole delayed
yeah,
gratification.
and it's like that's not going to be a really that's a hard sell. Like, I worked in sales and I got an award as a salesman. I'll be honest, that is a tough sell. Do something you fucking hate every day of your life. Eat the way that you fucking hate. Do a load of exercise that you fucking hate. But in 60 years' time, you will have lived 15 years longer than you would have done if you hadn't done it. Like, oof.
Yeah,
Where do I sign?
I think
Like,
I think the one thing that people could who are in that mindset where they just really struggle to do the hard stuff now for the for the future, just go down to your hospital,
yeah,
just have a little walk through there. You'll probably soon come out being like, fuck,
should probably do something. And the thing to make life a little bit easier, this is something that's come up on a number of like sort of people that I follow within the industry have sort of promoted similar things to this message. Ben Carpenter and Sohi have. I know James Smith has, and it's to improve your health. There are 3 ways that you can go about it, and yes, the optimal way of doing it would be to tackle all 3. But if you become more active than you currently are, by definition, you will become healthier. If you don't change anything about your diet quality and your calorie intake, if you become more active, you will improve certain health markers.
Yeah.
You could improve your nutrient quality. Even if you don't change your calorie intake or your activity level, if you're eating more nutrient dense foods, you will by definition become healthier than you currently are. Similarly, you could not tackle your activity level, you could not tackle your nutrient quality, you could just reduce your calories. By definition, you would become healthier. The holy grail is, yes, you do a combination of all 3, but for some people who are desperately wanting to improve their health and improve health markers but feel overwhelmed by it, sometimes the easiest thing to do is to look at it in that 3-pronged approach and go, well, actually, which of those 3 things could I do that's going to be the least shit or the most enjoyable? And it could be becoming a little bit more active. It could be going back to doing a sport that you enjoy, or just one of my clients, she's in order to get her steps in more, she lives up north by the coast, and she goes out looking for sea glass, and she's like, it's something so simple, but it gets like every weekend, and she now goes on a Monday. Like her dad's, he's like retired and stuff, so they go out on a Monday, and she just like walks up and down the beach looking for sea glass, and she's like, it gets my steps in, and I absolutely love it. And I was like, the key thing is she's not going out with the intention of trying to do a certain number of steps.
Yeah,
she's going out with the intention of doing something she enjoys, and the steps is the coincidental byproduct. And for so many people, they look at, I need to lose weight, I need to be healthier, and they look at what can I take away, what can I get rid of that's going to get me there, and that's not going to overly motivate. Whereas I think sometimes helping people to view it in that way of, there's 3 ways that you can become healthier. Which of these things can you do and start to implement that's not going to be a negative, that's going to be viewed as a positive? And it could be doing a little bit more activity than you normally do. It could be, it could be just improving your diet quality a little bit. But it doesn't need to be significant. I think people get caught up too much in trying to do too much, and then they end up doing nothing.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people just end up hating it.
Yeah.
And it's this misconception like a diet has to be really shit.
Yeah.
But that's just because of all the previous attempts.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be miserable. You can make it miserable. Yeah, I can make my own diet miserable if I want to.
Yeah.
Pretty easy. Just cut out all the things that actually taste good.
Yeah.
And, reduce my calories to barely anything. Yeah, I would be pretty fucking miserable. But if you're a bit clued up with it, and this is what I try and teach people in, coaching, and obviously sorted in 6 as well, is like, think about food volume, think about, one thing I talk about is like the bare minimum approach.
Yeah.
So just think about what's the bare minimum you can do to just move the needle slightly more forward.
Yeah. And the thing is, if you approach it with, I'm going to do the bare minimum, 9 times out of 10, you're going to overachieve, which will feel much more positive than setting your bar too high and then underachieving and then feeling shit about it. I, again, use that exact same thing I always say to people. What's the minimum you can do activity-wise? Because if you say once a week and you end up doing 2 or 3 times, you'll feel way more positive doing that than you would if you said 5 times a week and you end up doing 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
Same amount of activity, but psychologically you're going to feel much better doing more than you said than doing less than you should be, from that perspective. So again, I think the more voices we have of people that kind of help reduce that barrier to entry and help people realise that it doesn't need to be shit, to make change, and to manage the expectation that by making change doesn't mean seeing phenomenal difference between now and next week. You can actually get more people being willing to start, and I think that's the problem at the moment, is a lot of people don't start because their perception is it'll be shit.
Yeah, but yeah, if you do it right, and that's the problem, because people don't know how to do it right, which kind of blows my mind a little bit at this point, because like obviously 2025, nearly 2026, there are millions of users on Instagram, there are millions of coaches on Instagram. Most of them are pretty shit, I'm not gonna lie, but you're probably following a decent kind of like cohort of coaches who actually don't chat complete waffle.
Yeah.
Yes, it's difficult, but you've mentioned loads of people. Like Ben is a big one. Loads of people say that I sound like him, which is a bit strange. They're like, I have you just like robbed this video from Ben? I'm like, no. We sound alike. I get that all the time.
Yeah, it's what happens when you say things sort of properly.
yeah, but I mean, there are good people out there, and there is good advice out there. It's not all doom and gloom. It's not all Joe Wicks and Eggy Aboo. Like, there are good coaches, but it's learning or knowing which ones to
spot them.
Yeah, which ones to listen to. And again, that goes back to what I said earlier about he or she who shouts the loudest often wins the game of social media, unfortunately. But we're getting there.
Yeah, and again, I think it's helping people to appreciate that actually the measure of somebody's credibility isn't always follow account and number of likes. Like, it's those who can articulate the point that they're making and provide data to confirm it, that actual data to confirm it, are typically people that are better to listen to. And there's some fantastic people in that space out there. Obviously, Ben Carpenter, obviously James doesn't do as much from a fitness perspective. I know he's still got his obviously his coaching and stuff, but again, a lot of obviously what he puts out is a bit more business focused now. But you've then got people like Lane Norton, who are exceptional people within the fitness space for being able to break stuff down and look at data and actually utilising randomised controlled trials, human controlled trials, I should add, rather than rodent trials, and what have you. So again, there's people out there. It's just trying not to get swept up in the notion of, like you said, that he who shouts loudest, and the people that create perhaps content that is better for engagement rather than factual accuracy.
Yeah.
Because there's definitely a difference between the two.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely a difference between the two. If it's got millions of views and they don't reference a single study, that's probably a red flag.
Yeah, I mean, I've found some wild things recently, just like nonsense workouts and a doctor saying that you're walking wrong. And it's just
I saw that one.
Jesus, like really? We're getting to this point.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time before people start demonising just drinking water, which I have seen to a degree. People claim you should be drinking like that hydrogen water.
Yeah. It's like, who's got that in their household?
Yeah, it's fucking mad, isn't it? But yeah, I think this is probably a good place to begin to round things off.
Okay.
I think we've deep dived into a lot of things today. Is it dived or is it dove?
Deep dived.
Yeah, I think deep dive sounds better.
Deep dove. No, deep dived.
Yeah.
It sounds better.
Deep dove.
Deep dived?
Yeah. So,
no.
Obviously, I don't have a degree in English. But yeah, what I like to do at the end, obviously, before we round off, again, obviously let people know where they can find you. If they don't follow you already, I'll be amazed if they don't.
Just all the social media channels. Once you find me, you won't get rid of me.
There you go.
But my username is Louis Baker-Stroud, but that doesn't help because people don't know how to spell Louis. So
this is true. Fortunately for me, I have a name that can only be spelt one way.
Yeah, true.
So that's handy. But yeah, if you don't follow him already, make sure you do. I will obviously tag him in all the content that goes out from this. If you're watching this on YouTube, you may have noticed that we've gone to a static image towards the end of this, and that's because ran out of storage on my camera. So you can hopefully have enjoyed the image of the two of us that I would choose to go over the last portion of this. Everyone listening on Spotify, until now you had no idea. So enjoy that little bit of information that's added zero to your listening enjoyment. But thank you for watching 2/3 of it and for listening to all of it. I will obviously be back on the next one, but for now, mate, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure, and I will see everybody again very soon.
Cheers.
You're very welcome, mate.